Ever feel like, you've got all this knowledge, all this expertise just kind of sitting there, like you could be doing more with it?
Oh, totally. Like an untapped gold mine or something.
Exactly. And that's what got me so intrigued about today's deep dive. We're taking a look at Detlef Korus. He's this German charisma mentor who says his KONTAKTBESCHLEUNIGER-Programm can turn you into, get this, a customer-attracting magnet.
Okay, KONTAKTBESCHLEUNIGER. Gotta love the German, but Contact Accelerator definitely has a certain ring to it.
Right. So we're diving into his whole deal, the marketing materials, testimonials, you name it. We got to see if this is the real deal or just, hype.
Yeah, because let's be real. Who couldn't use a little more magnetism when it comes to attracting customers?
Exactly. And you know me, I'm always a sucker for a good system, especially one that promises to be done for you. But before we get ahead of ourselves, what's the core idea Korus is selling here?
So, from what I've gathered, he believes that a lot of entrepreneurs, they already have the knowledge, the charisma, all that, but they struggle to present it effectively online.
Okay, so it's like they have all the ingredients for a great meal, but they need help plating it up and making it look irresistible.
Exactly. And that's where he comes in. He's all about packaging that expertise into like a sleek online product. Think webinars, landing pages, even e-learning courses, all tailored to you.
Oh, so it's like he's creating a digital storefront for your knowledge. I like it.
Right. But it's not just about the techie side of things. He also emphasizes this whole charisma angle, which is interesting.
Well, that's where it gets really intriguing for me. It's one thing to have a slick online presence, but being able to really connect with people, to draw them in, that's a whole other level.
Totally. And he seems to really lean into his experience. He was a TV anchorman and editor-in-chief for TV Berlin. He's saying that experience helps him draw out and amplify your natural charisma.
Okay, so he's got the media background, he gets the charisma thing. Now I gotta ask, how does he actually do it? What's his secret sauce?
Well, he calls it the K.O.R.U.S Method.
Yeah.
And it sounds a little mysterious, right?
K.O.R.U.S Method. Okay, you're speaking my language now. Break it down for me.
So each letter stands for a key principle. We've got klartext, meaning clear text.
Okay, makes sense. Cut through the clutter, keep it simple. Yeah. What else?
Then there's organization. Pretty self-explanatory. Raumgeschenk, which translates to gift of space.
Gift of space. Okay, now we're getting a little abstract. How does that work in the online world?
Right. It's interesting. And then Vertrauen for primal trust.
Primal trust. Now you're really throwing me for a loop.
I know, right? And finally, Strahlkraft, which means radiance.
Okay, so we've got clear text, organization, gift of space, primal trust, and radiance. It sounds like a recipe for some kind of mystical marketing potion. But how do these principles actually translate into, creating a killer webinar or an engaging online course?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, take something like Raumgeschenk, that gift of space idea. In a webinar, maybe it's about structuring things so there are pauses, moments for your audience to reflect, to really absorb what you're saying.
So it's less about bombarding them with information and more about creating a learning environment where they feel comfortable, engaged.
Exactly. Or Vertrauen, that primal trust. Maybe it's about being really authentic, really transparent with your audience, sharing your story, even the messy parts, to build a deeper connection.
Interesting. So it's not just about being salesy. It's about building genuine rapport, even through a screen.
Right. Which, let's be honest, is something that usually takes time, consistent effort. It's not always easy to do online.
And that's what makes me wonder, is Korus really onto something here? Can you actually bottle charisma and package it up in a done-for-you program?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And he's definitely making some bold claims about the results his program can deliver. We're seeing a lot of talk about impressive ROI, those big returns on investment that get everyone excited.
Let's be real. Those ROI numbers are what makes our ears perk up, right? Who wouldn't want to become a customer-attracting magnet? But are these claims too good to be true? That's what we're here to find out.
Right. Let's talk ROI, because the materials definitely highlight some success stories. Like, there's this guy, Horst Lutz. He claims 150% ROI after going through the KONTAKTBESCHLEUNIGER program.
150%. Okay, now we're talking. But what does that actually look like in real-world terms? Like, how much money are we talking about here?
Well, Horst says he's now getting, like, 5 new leads and 1 new customer every single week because of the program.
Wow, 1 new customer per week consistently. That's huge.
Right, and he attributes it all back to the KONTAKTBESCHLEUNIGER.
Okay, so that's a pretty compelling testimonial. But I gotta ask, What does that 150% ROI actually mean? Break it down for me.
So ROI stands for return on investment, and basically it's a way of measuring how profitable an investment is. In the simplest terms, 150% ROI means that for every dollar Horst put into the program, he's claiming to get back $2.50 in profit.
Okay, so it's not just about the revenue, it's about the actual profit after you factor in the costs. Got it. But I'm also thinking we're only hearing Horst's side of the story, right?
Exactly. Testimonials, they're great and all, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. We always have to remember there's that potential for selection bias.
Right, like maybe Horst was already on the verge of a breakthrough, and this program just gave him that extra little push. Or maybe there are other factors at play that we're not seeing.
Totally. And it's worth noting, Horst, so he's already working in the digital space, already familiar with e-learning and all that.
That's a good point. So he might be uniquely positioned to benefit from this kind of program. Like someone who's already a skilled chef is going to get more out of a fancy new oven than someone who's just learning to boil water.
Exactly. It's like giving a race car driver a faster car. They're already going to know how to handle it.
Right. Okay, so we've got these eye-catching testimonials, but we have to approach them with a healthy dose of skepticism. What works for one person might not work for everyone. So for our listeners out there who might be thinking, okay, this done-for-you thing sounds pretty good, what are some of the potential downsides? What should people be wary of before they jump in?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is the risk of sacrificing long-term strategy for short-term gains. The KONTAKTBESCHLEUNIGER, it seems great for creating those initial marketing assets, the website, the webinars, all that, but it's not clear how much it addresses ongoing content strategy, adapting to changes in the market.
So it's like having a shiny new sports car, but not knowing how to change the oil or rotate the tires. You might be cruising for a while, but eventually.
Exactly. You're going to run into problems. And speaking of ongoing support, the materials do mention this add-on service. It's called Contentfluge Plus. Essentially, it's a content management service that Korus offers.
Oh, right. Contentfluge Plus, content care, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like having a personal mechanic on call for your shiny new sports car.
Pretty much. It seems to pick up where the initial done-for-you package leaves off. Korus's team will manage your social media, make sure you're posting regularly, all that, using material from that initial interview.
Okay, so for someone who's super busy, who doesn't have time to be creating content all the time, that could be appealing. But it also makes you wonder, how much control are you giving up?
That's a great point, because when you outsource your content, you're trusting someone else to capture your brand, your voice, your values, and there's always a risk that something gets lost in translation, especially if you're working with a team that might not be as familiar with your specific industry or audience as you are.
Right, because authenticity is so important, especially online. People can spot a generic, mass-produced message a mile away. It's about connecting on a genuine level, showing your audience that you understand their needs, their aspirations.
Exactly. And that's something Korus himself actually talks about, even if he uses, slightly flashier language. Remember, diamantine traffic?
Ah, yes. Diamond traffic, those high-value leads, the people who are genuinely interested in what you offer, the ones who are more likely to become loyal customers.
Right. It's about quality over quantity, finding those diamonds in the rough, so to speak.
It's like panning for gold, right?
Hmm.
You got to sift through a lot of dirt to find those little nuggets. So how does Korus suggest we find those diamonds?
Well, he's a big believer in targeted engagement. It's not just about getting your message out there as widely as possible. It's about making sure it lands with the right people.
Okay, so less about casting a wide net and more about laser focus. Sounds like it takes more work, more planning.
Definitely. You really have to understand your ideal customer. What are their pain points? What motivates them? Even how they behave online.
Yeah.
Then you can tailor your message, your content, to really speak to them directly.
Which makes me think about the whole done-for-you aspect of Korus's program. How much of that targeting is built in, and how much depends on the entrepreneur really knowing their stuff?
That is the million-dollar question. And it's something anyone thinking about this program really needs to consider. Korus might provide the tools, the framework, but you still need to bring your own knowledge of your audience to the table.
Because even with the best delivery, the most amazing online course, if it's not reaching the right people, it's like, what's the point?
Exactly. It's like throwing a party and inviting everyone you've ever met.
Yeah.
You might have a big crowd, but will they really appreciate it? Will they get it?
Right. So for our listeners who are thinking about whether this KONTAKTBESCHLEUNIGER program is right for them, what are the key takeaways from our deep dive?
Well, first and foremost, there's no magic bullet. As much as we'd love a quick fix, marketing and sales success takes work, no matter what program or method you're using.
It's about being realistic, right? Separating the hype from what's actually going to move the needle for your business.
Absolutely. And I think this deep dive has highlighted some important principles that apply across the board. Understanding your audience, creating targeted messaging, focusing on genuine connection, those are timeless.
And don't forget about always learning, always adapting. The online world is constantly changing, so you have to be willing to experiment, see what works, and adjust your approach along the way.
Couldn't agree more. Stay curious, try new things, and don't be afraid to refine your strategies as you go.
This has been a really interesting deep dive, and I hope our listeners are walking away with some new insights, some things to think about. Because at the end of the day, the best way to find your own diamond traffic is to keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep putting yourself out there.
Well said. And never underestimate the power of genuine enthusiasm. It's contagious. When you're passionate about what you do, it shows and it makes all the difference.
So true. On that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shining.